Welcome, amazing and beautiful souls, to the Intentional Resonance Podcast. I'm your host, Joyce Mathers, and I am so excited and thrilled that you are here because together we are going to make intentional waves. This podcast is based on my new book, Intentional Resonance, and on to a new way of being, focusing on everything personal, professional, and spiritual development to reach Christ consciousness within to birth a true heaven on earth. I hope you'll join us, and let's create. Hello. Okay, so today I have joining me a wonderful human being, Kayla. I'm hoping that she's going to become a regular part of this show, sharing her experience in wisdom and her own spiritual journey and perspectives, because truly I know her and it is amazing. And I absolutely love the energy that we create together when we get together. So today she's going to be here to discuss and review my new book, Intentional Resonance, The Dawn to a New Way of Being. But before we dive into that, I'm hoping that she can share a little bit of her perspective of what's going on in the world, because we all know there's a ton of stuff happening, but we want to put a positive spin. And so, Kayla, I'm hoping you will open with this and share your perspective about what's happening in the world and what you think is our greatest opportunity.
Oh, okay. So like you, I'm sure you can feel that the energies out there are pretty wild, and it's pretty spectacular to see the way that everybody is kind of operating right now with what's going on in the world. And I've definitely been feeling it here. Like, I'm in Canada and I can't speak for the rest, but I've definitely been feeling a shift, an opening for people that are wanting, they're kind of in limbo. They realize things are happening that are not sitting well with them or sitting well with their soul. And they're like open to learning and open to wisdom. And I think this opening is a real good opportunity for us to start healing. Opens the door for healing, and not only on an individual level but a global level. And I think the timing of your book is perfect for all of this, because I think we're in an not everybody, of course, but I think we are in an infancy state of healing. And I think that the timing of your book to help us grow collectively is a door open, right? For everybody on all different levels.
Oh, yeah, I felt that as you're saying that. And of course, I feel the same way because really, Nana says it all very plainly in my book, that I definitely feel that everything that's happening in the world is the greatest opportunity in front of humanity right now. And what I love about what you're saying is that, basically from the chaos, from the destruction, that it's shifting people who are in a state of limbo to open themselves up to look for something more, which opens up their willingness to shift perspective and learn. And so I really, really appreciate hearing that and echoing that. And I definitely feel the same way. And I love that you brought my book into it. What a perfect segue.
Seriously, I can't not, because when I first, like, me and you are on the same wavelength, I feel. And so when I first started it, it wasn't even, I was just like, yes, she hit that. Yes, she nailed that. Yeah. And I'm just like, so it was so easy to just be like, and it's in the book. Like, it really is.
Okay. So, well, I think, absolutely this is, your perfect segueing into the review of the book. So let's do that. And so I have a list of questions, and, let's just go off of that and we'll see what comes out. So let's see. Asking the first question, what was your favorite part of the book?
My favorite part of the book would be how you incorporated not only your testimony and your life experiences, but you also put exercises in the book for people to be able to put that into their own practices. And to actually like it, when you talk of like the dawn to a new way of being, you're literally setting up the reader to be able to utilize these in their own life. So it's a life-changing thing for the reader to be able to make a change to a new way of being.
I am so grateful to hear that, because that is definitely my intention, is that I don't want this really about me. The only reason I'm sharing is that there's an understanding that there's a connection, between suffering, really, and what we learn, but also a way through that suffering. But it's not about me. But, this is what I learned. And if you can take this, and through my own reflective process, use it to create your own, because I can't tell you what to do.
Right.
Because everybody's journey is so special and so individual, that I don't think, that was one thing many years ago, I stopped reading other people's books, because to me, some of it was inauthentic. Where's the struggle? You're just saying the learning, but how do other people get there?
Yeah.
And that's what I struggled with. There's a lot of stuff out there saying, you gotta love yourself. You gotta do affirmations. You gotta do all these things, but people don't know how to do that.
Yeah. They don't know how to organize it in a way to put it into practice. And I think the way that you wrote it will help them to organize it to be able to put it into practice.
See, I'm gonna have mini celebrations. I hope everybody doesn't mind, but I just love hearing this, because it's aligning with my intention, and I'm so utterly grateful. So thank you, Kayla. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Next question. Oh yes. Okay. From all the information in the book, what stuck with you the most?
Oh, what stuck with me the most would have to be the spirit code, I think, is what stuck with me the most. When you are talking about the rest and relaxation and then the rise. And I think that those three things, and the way that you put it in your book so well. And you tie it all back to, I love how you tie it all back to biblical scripture, because and to modern life and all of these things, is you actually tie so many people, like you hit a level of, for everybody of any walk of life, to be able to connect with this and to really look at like the world and utilize a different way of being, realizing that we need rest, we need relaxation, we need to calm our minds, because the chaos and the noise and the sound is so overwhelming that it is hitting all of these like anxieties and depressions and all of these, triggering these emotions within us that really aren't
Us.
necessary. Yeah. And so the way that you break it down and put it in to these steps, I just really loved that breakdown. And it's something that we're often having to try and remind ourselves of in these times, I find, because it's so go all the time, that we don't allow or take the time or recognize that we need the rest, the relaxation, and then the rise, like how they all really do go together and how important they really are. And so by you highlighting that in there, I really love it.
I didn't actually anticipate that I was going to get emotional.
Oh.
But I am, because echoing back to me that this was a book, or wrote in a way that it brings everybody together, that it can be related to not just a group, but to many. That was my intention. and to come across and love and appreciation for all the differences of who we are.
Yeah.
So for somebody to say that to me, who has read it, it's echoing a very fundamental way and an intention that I had. So it's this is really moving for me.
Well, I love it. And your intention from me was felt very deeply in this book. I could relate in a lot of ways. I could, you know, it when I was reading it, I was like, oh man, like finally I am at a point where I feel as though I can relate to somebody that's on my level of understanding, right?
Mhm.
And so it really just put things into a perspective for me. Sorry, my dog is barking.
That's
I
okay.
didn't plan on a cat and dog fight in my office. Oh, really?
Okay, so what stuck out the most was the spirit code and the steps of rest and release and rise. And,
Yeah,
a big recognition of the need to rest. And we do.
yeah,
We have faced so much.
yeah,
And, that's something, in it, that was a big part in reflection of my own life of what I needed in order to start healing.
yeah,
That I needed to create a space of rest for myself. And the steps included were the ways that I uncovered that for myself.
yeah.
And
Yeah, well, I think the world is in such a constant upheaval
mhm,
that we are so focused on these things that are not important, but they're highlighted and they are, exclamation marked as these high important things in our life that we're missing the true meaning of life and
mhm.
what should be focused on. And those are like us. We are amazing and we need to recognize that and to learn that there's going to be trials and there's going to be pain and there has to be healthy ways of dealing with these things.
Mhm.
And so when you read your book, you go through everything. Like you go through the pain and the trials and the process of healthy healing and coping. And so it's really, really cool to see and hear that there are other people out there that are seeing these same things and having these same thoughts.
Yeah.
And now that you've been able to put them into a book and organize them so well, to give that to others who are in limbo and they're like, I see something is not right here, but I don't know what to do. Like they don't, they're the chaos of the world has their, so many tabs open and up here, they don't know how to organize all of that, right? And so in your book, you organized it for them,
Mhm.
but in a way that they still have to do the work.
Yes, we got to do the work.
Yeah.
It's definitely not something that you can just read and put on the shelf. It
No.
has to be something that you actively participate in. And
Yeah.
that active participation is daily. With a lot of people that I work with, I basically say, this process you're creating for yourself. This is your full-time job. Everything else is secondary. If you
Yeah.
really want the happiness, the fulfillment, the joy, the abundance, this is your job.
Yes. Yes. And once you can flip that thinking, that way of thinking in your mind, once you flip that and you realize that once you put that energy into you, everything else just all of a sudden is like, you're blessed. Like there's no other word. You become blessed and you are able to do your job with a clear frame of mind. You're able to have relationships that are truly meaningful and more connected because you are just in such a healthier place.
Mm-hmm.
You're not dragging your butt for 8 hours a day doing things just because you think you have to do them. And it's just getting through the routine every day. It's, you now have an
Right.
extension,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Attention to your life. So everything you do is now with joy and love, and you're like, boom, and you're getting it done, and it's, things are coming to you, and all this because you've totally put a whole new perspective on your life. Like,
Yes. 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 Yes.
just,
I love it. Okay. Let's move on. Next question. Did you reread any passages? If so, which ones?
I did. I reread and I made notes here. One of the ones that I kept rereading was well, there's two. There's forgiveness. I kept reading on, I can't remember what chapter it was, but it was on forgiveness. And I struggle with that a little bit myself right now, forgiving people, like forgiving people who have done things to you that have created a core emotion in you, or a core memory, or something like that. And you really want to forgive them, like you truly deeply want, like my mind is like, I want to forgive them, but my body is not cooperating so much. There's these feelings I'm having to overcome in myself in order to truly forgive them. Like I keep telling myself I'm forgiving them, but I'm not feeling, there's still emotions that have come up, and how to really deal with people that have hurt you, that you want to have these conversations with to clear the air, but they'll never happen.
Yeah.
And so there was when I was rereading it, that would be the one that I kept rereading on the release, like releasing,
Yes.
the releasing.
And
Um,
and when you say that, I really, really want to, because I know I put in there that we're releasing, we're forgiving, not for those that typically hurt us, but for ourselves and our well-being. It just so happens that
yeah,
because we are connected, we are all one consciousness, that we also heal others at the same time, in which there was this connection with.
right.
So, I don't want to take too much time, but I would definitely like to possibly help through this aspect, I don't recall in the moment. I'd have to look through the book, when I'm talking about forgiveness, but this shift, and I can only, of course, reflect from my own experience of how I was able to forgive those that hurt me the most.
Mhm.
Was the shift on focusing on that their behavior, their actions, and all of that stemming from their beliefs were created by the noise, the conditioning and the programming of the world. So the way that they acted and what they did was not the authentic part of who they were, or are, I should say. And so,
Right.
and knowing that, can create, for me, is what gave me the ability to create empathy for them.
Yes.
And that, like, man, that's so awful that they were so hurt to come from that place and to
Yeah.
treat me or any other individual in that way. And so that's how I was slowly, and it did take time to release that grip of, anger and resentment and, all the emotions that go along that stop somebody from forgiving.
Well, and that's exactly what I find myself doing. And I think that that is just with time, it will
Yeah,
get easier and easier. And I already know, like, I'm already better than I was 3 years ago, right?
absolutely.
Um, yeah. So it's just the time, right? And allowing time to like process and truly release it. And like, I think I do think that I do it in pieces. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm letting that go. Okay, yeah, oh yeah. So I'm recognizing these things. And so, but going through and rereading it again and again, really does help
Yeah.
to like set this new way of releasing
Yeah.
into play.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Yeah.
so glad to hear that, because that definitely, you know what, that actually surprises me. It surprised me to hear it, but at the same time, it makes sense because, I
Yeah.
think for most people, probably forgiveness is the biggest thing they have a hardest time with, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I would think so, which is a huge part in healing.
yes, a huge
Like,
part.
and
And
not only forgiving others, but forgiving ourselves,
oh yes, so glad you said that.
right?
Yes.
Because we're not perfect. We've like all done things. We retaliate, we do things, right? That we're like in the moment, you emotionally react. And then you look back, you take time to like recognize your own actions or inactions
Mhm.
and have a little bit of accountability there and be like, I have to forgive myself for that.
Yes,
Because I only did what I knew what was best in the time, in the moment, with my coping and my, new healthy way of handling things. And so you just have to be able to forgive yourself like on a daily basis.
absolutely. Yeah, it's the core really.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that I've talked to, even if and I'm just reflecting on general conversations, but this act of forgiveness, but often they forget the number one thing is forgiving yourself. Forgiving
Yeah.
yourself for, because I can even recall, like, in my previous marriage that I talk about in the book, it was that I let myself get into a situation like that. I was mad at myself,
Mhm.
right? That I allowed it. But the thing is the forgiveness of yourself is so crucial and so key to that ability to release and have that space of rest for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. This is so good.
I love it. The other thing that I was rereading was the duality,
Mm.
and the duality of um recognizing that everything is connected. And when you realize that everything is connected, you need to have the trials and tribulations in order to truly feel the connections of the good and the positiveness of life. You have to have like, it's all connected, it all intermingles. And I've known this, right? I've known this, but the way that you write about it in here, I'm just like, yes, 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 yes. Like it just, and then you bring it, um, like you're bringing it alive a little bit for people. When I'm reading it, you're bringing it alive, and then you're really showing people that their struggles can be changed by their intention and their choices and their personal reflections, and with a totally different outlook on life. Those choices that you make are what set your whole world for change, right?
They are, they're the way that I've come to understand is that everything truly is a gift. That
Mhm.
and I know so many people, and I know I think part of that, then I think underneath the next part was about radical acceptance of what is in this discussion of duality. But it is a gift that our suffering ceases when we see it as such a gift, that it is we are continually unbecoming to become the truest nature of ourselves, which is the God within. And so if we can go throughout our days without the resistance to whatever life is giving us, and then instead see it that this is for me to reach this ideal vision and version of me and my abundant life, that you can become grateful in the moment, so that builds planks of trust for the entering of God. It's
Yes,
just
seriously. And I do love how you throughout the book reference scripture to like really drive your point home. Like, I love it.
well, I don't know if it's worthy to discuss here, but like, there was a point in my life, because I was raised in a Christian family, but I rebelled, and I put all of that, I'm like, yeah, no. And,
Mhm.
but see, God has a way of bringing you back home in the most perfect way.
Yes. But see, I love how you said this. I was raised, and taught these things. Da 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 da. People taught you those things.
Yes.
It took a deeper level of connection for you to realize that there's probably truth in some of those things they were teaching you, but there was so much more, like such
So
a bigger picture.
mhm.
And the problem is we're so open to other people's perspectives and like way of teaching things, which can be great. Everything's an opportunity to learn something new. However, don't put all your eggs in one basket, because you got to zoom out on life. If
Yeah.
you're zoomed in, like my church just does this, or my school just does this, or my job just does this, or this, like, from what I know, Jesus was a man that wore many hats, right? And so if you're only wearing one hat and you can't zoom out on life and see that there's like many hats to be worn,
Mhm.
you only get a certain perspective. And
Yeah.
so you truly have to Christ in your own way, because you have to realize that there's pieces of truth in everything, and he's in everything. But
Mhm.
you have to determine, what is that truth?
For you.
What is
Yes.
for
And you're hitting a nail on the head, and right here, right now, of bringing it to me, and this is a personal perception. There's so much out there that people they perceive that they're like intellectual, they have an intellectual understanding of scripture or Jesus or God, yet not an internal knowing. And that's the difference. That is
yeah.
fundamental difference, in which no one can teach you.
No, nobody. You
You
have to learn it.
have to learn it through your own way. And I know that was, part of my fundamental intentions of my book is to at least start to give steps that were quieting the noise of the human mind, to hear the divine within, because there's always been this, and I was raised in Christian faith, so I always believed that God was some powerful being beyond me, and which I'm praying to. And yet through the, gift of creation, God is always here, never
Yeah.
gone, right here inside with you. You are a child of the infinite creator. And all you have to do to really know and have this wisdom and to have this feeling of abundance and joy is simply to look within, quiet the noise of the human mind, to pay attention to the divine mind. So
100%. And the world right now is like, they're so focused on like groups, right?
yes,
That
faction,
they that
separation.
that they can't realize, if you actually took the good from these groups, they're all connected. They all are saying the same thing in different ways.
Yeah.
Right? The people that are like, and the uniting, like, I think that's what our world really needs, is the healing and the uniting.
Yeah.
Uniting, realizing that they're like, I've always said this for years, remove the labels, and see where people would fall. And I love and don't love, but I love, there's certain things that people do on like YouTube or the TV or whatever, and they're like, okay, those of you, like, there's a whole group of people, and they're like, okay, those of you that have like they smoke, go stand over here. Oh, look, there's all these group of people over here that smoke. And those of you that like read the Bible, you go stand over here, and then like group everybody. But in the beginning, they're all one. And if we could realize that like the things that we do and the experiences we have and the testimonies that we share and these life journeys of ours are like, we're all one. Like it's all to like help us all grow together and
Yeah.
individually.
Again,
Without,
the unified consciousness, the unified
yeah.
human consciousness. And I know I'm not sure, did I write this in the book? But a way that I love to create unity, or to erase the perception of separation is, envisioning, like literally unzipping the human suit. And what do we find inside?
Yeah.
Oh, spirit, same,
Yeah.
sameness, oneness, all of God. And
Yeah.
there's no difference there, none, zero.
No.
And I think, too, what comes to mind is that it was a gift to God to have full expression, meaning that we have all potentialities to create in this realm. And so when people think, they start separating of division or what's good or bad or good or evil, they forget that all potentialities exist in God.
Yes.
But we're given free will. And so just like, you have free will to not seek oneness with God or to seek separateness with God. And it's free will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those who decide to do the work, to commit, then they notice that their life completely changes.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not limited. Like they will tell you you're limited. You're not limited.
Not at
You're
all.
right. Yeah.
And
And he's omnipresent. So he's in everything. Like, and
literally everything.
once you see that, you're like, you can't unsee that, right? You can't unsee it.
Oh,
So I think the way that you've worded even things in here, it just brings a whole new perspective to probably a new reader or somebody who is in the limbo stage and they're like, whoa, like this is powerful. Like this is a powerful book.
wow. So, I say wow because, the intention of writing this book was to affect people's lives in an extremely positive way, with the underlying and firm knowing, not belief, knowing that we can change, we can shift things to heaven on earth. I truly, truly know that's within my being.
Yep.
And so when you say that, that is like this amount of validation of like, oh my God, this is real.
It is. And you know what? I think people are looking for this quick fix. Like the world has pushed on everybody like this quick fix. And you can quickly fix your life with these. And what sets your book apart from other motivational type of inspirational books is you don't offer a quick fix. You
No.
offer steps to take to own accountability in these times, realizing that your choices impact your lives and globally the world, right? You're putting it into a way where it's like okay, this isn't a quick fix, but it is going to fix daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, lifelong changes in their life if they follow steps of continual new organized patterns that are in positive intentional ways. And like it starts with yourself. Like it starts with yourself.
And yes, it does start with yourself. And and all the things you just said is for individuals, for people to think that their effort, their work, don't ever think that it is small or doesn't make a difference. It makes the most profound difference we could ever imagine. And so, and I know I say this specifically in the book, keep going because we need you.
Yeah. That you're worth, like you have, like we are so there's so many things in the world that are devaluing us
Yes.
as humans. And it's like, what? You are the most valuable and worthy human. Like, and without you, the world would not be the same. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's taking life seriously. It's
Yeah.
taking it seriously.
Yes, I think we'll get into it, but yes, I love that. We better keep going, or we're not going to get through. Let's see. Did reading this book impact your mood? If yes, in what ways?
Oh my gosh, yes, it totally did. It totally, um, it totally did. I felt a sense of peace, a sense of joy. It reminded me that even in the darkest of times, right, there's always hope. There's always hope. Your own personal experiences and insights, they just give new perspective, right, to life and the challenges that we might face. I realized that my struggles might not be so unique because everybody's going through their own struggles, and so while they might be unique to me in this lifetime, lots of people are going through their own unique struggles. And so it just brought it all together that things do happen for a reason, and they do happen to continue to help us grow and move into a growth stage and not stay stagnant. And the power of gratitude and forgiveness and letting go, like it really brought a peace to me and my mood, that there is steps and there is way of living that can bring you to this inner peace. And so it was just, yeah, it did impact my mood. It did, because it brought hope and faith and joy.
Well, as you were talking, like I'm just feeling continual, and I'm not sure if people that are going to be watching this are going to be able to see this, but I just, as you're talking, I'm just having constant heart pulls. You know, my heart is like, wow, and wow, and wow. That's basically what I'm saying inside. And I'm just so profoundly grateful that all this has come through. Like
When you
I'm
told me you were writing a book, I was like, oh yeah, that's interesting. And the more you would talk to me about your book, I was like, okay, save some for me to read. Like I'd like to hear, I read this. And then the closer you got to, I was like, okay, I really need to read this now. And now that I've read it, I'm like, to all our people, my people, I'm like, you guys gotta read this book. Like, you gotta read it because it connects so many dots that I think people have like little tidbits of things here and here and here. They haven't fully connected it. And they're not sure how to connect it. And your book brings it all and connects it. Like everything that I've been feeling my whole life and saying my whole life. And like it was just as reassurance that it was like, oh no, yeah, like other people are seeing these connections.
yeah.
And it was just like, it was, oh, the sense of just like peace. Like I'm not alone here. I'm not alone here, as much as sometimes I feel alone, because like you say, one of your scriptures that you reference is like the narrow road.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like
It's
this
very
does.
much the narrow road. And,
Yeah.
but it's, just the narrow road, but what's guaranteed is a life of love and abundance.
Right. And so you take this thing that to some people, like somebody who reads the Bible, that could take this and as a fearful thing, like I'm gonna walk this road by myself, like this lonely, dark, cold road. And it's like, no, you take this and you're like, you put the faith and the hope into it of like, no, this is gonna be beautiful. Like this road, just a picture, like you paint this picture of this beautiful road to this beautiful ending, right? And so it offers hope, and it gives you this, like, gives me, as somebody who is understanding of what your intentions are, I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody else feels the way I feel and sees the world the way I see it, like, which is beautiful.
Oh, thank you for all of your words. Literally, my heart is so big right now, and I think it's gonna like burst out of my chest. I gotta take some deep breaths. One thing that I wanted to say out of all that, because you've said a couple times that it references scripture. And these are for the path that I took. For the longest time, I felt that I was having a spiritual existential crisis because I was trying to make sense of one world and another world. So, and when I say that is the religious world versus a spiritual perspective. And for me, it was through the practice of shamanism, because in the purity of Christian faith, fundamentalists believe, that it would be that it's really the act of the devil, right? Or in doing, that division of and that anything to do with like shamanic practice is evil. And so for a long time I struggled with this, but my experience of the divine was so much love that healed me. I'm like, this is not. And then just like I talk about in my book, that I prayed and I was praying to God for the answers, for the path. Help me reconcile all of this, right? And there is a part in the book, and it's in chapter 10 in Rise, where I say we become what we contemplate the most. And when I was saying in the very end of the chapter that I contemplated love and I contemplated Jesus, so love and Jesus came rushing in. Ever since that moment, this is the story relating to scripture. Jesus entered my life in such a profound way through shamanism, and has been the teacher and the fundamental teaching of what I'm trying to get through my book.
When you talk about the connections in all the walks of life, how we're all connected, right? You put it in this way of, I understand, but the way you're putting it in for other people to understand, you are hitting, so many different unique areas that if people could understand that this division that is created into every little thing, I look at it like a pie chart, and there's this, and spirituality and the Bible, and then you've got the like non-believers and all these things. If you took the lines away, right? You take the lines away, it's all connected, and the way you put it is so beautiful. And like, I think through this journey of healing that we're going to be seeing, not only in ourselves, but globally, because I think we are hitting a point of that, you're going to see these barriers and these walls removed to realize that it is all connected. Because I've also struggled with that, with the religion aspect and the spirituality aspect, and how they can't at all in the world be connected because they're just battling each other. And it's like, we have the Holy Spirit within us. Like, let's focus on keywords here. Let's focus on keywords, right? Everybody is so drawn and pushed towards the outer, to external, that they don't recognize the internal, what's inside. They're not focusing on keywords. They're not focusing on connection. They're so focused on disconnection of, well, if I believe in this, I can't believe in this because I'm organization, or by the TV, or somebody that's partially read the Bible or partially done their homework, that they're not at all connected. But when in reality, everything is connected. Like, it's all connected. It's all created. There is mimicked. Like, there are things that are mimicked, but everything has a duality. You have to look at it like a mirror, where there is good, there is bad in everything.
And all of it exists within us.
Yes.
And the what I want to bring out of what you just said, and that, to me was a very foundational part of understanding in the book, is that it is our inner worlds that create our outer worlds. And just as you were saying, that we're ignoring the inner, and that's exactly it. We have let it, the environment of chaos create our inner worlds versus creating a inner world of peace that is rippled out.
Yeah, and like I said to my mom the other day, the world's at war. The world's at war, but that tells me if the world is at war, the war is within ourselves.
Yes.
It's within ourselves, it's within our society, it's within our relationships, it's within us to fix, to heal, to focus on. And so the outer world is actually giving us information if we're to look at it.
Reflection of what is inside of us. Thank you. Amen. So well said.
100%. So the war being waged is within ourselves.
Yes, 100%. Oh my gosh, so well said. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just glad somebody understands what I'm saying. Because sometimes,
Okay, we better keep going here. So the next question, what surprised you the most about the book?
Oh man, I can't say it. I was like super surprised because you and I have talked about this so much that when I started reading it, I was like I said already, yes, you've hit all these major points that people need. But I was surprised that you didn't write this sooner. I was surprised that the timing is now. When I do truly think, and everything happens for a reason, so I truly believe the timing is accurate for what's going on.
Right.
But honestly, and I was surprised that you didn't share this wisdom sooner. And I know you probably do in your daily life. I know you do in your daily life, but I was just overwhelmed with the timing of your book. I think that was the surprise for me. The surprise for me was like, I knew, knowing you, how good this was going to be and how you put your heart and soul into every word and the placement of every word. And so I can't say I was surprised by that. I'm just surprised at the beautiful timing of your book.
So much right here. Okay. First thing, one thing I got to say right away is God speaks to us through different people because God is within us all. Thank you for that validation, because within me, because you're saying it's perfect timing. And when I was writing it, of course, when the human mind takes over, it's just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm not done yet. Oh, this was supposed to happen so and so ago. And so for me, through the writing of this book was a journey within itself, a spiritual journey within itself, trusting in God's timing, trusting in the divine, that everything is actually perfect just as it is, as it is, and as I'm doing, and nothing should be changed. So I had to accept that in every moment, right? Whenever we think that, oh, I should have done this, I should have been done this by now, right? Because in the way that I thought of it, that I use my own, what I say in there as far as this process, our own mind transmutation process, I was utilizing through the writing of this whole book in so many different ways. One of them was definitely around time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like 48 years old, and I've been trying to write this book for freaking since 2009. But I actually fundamentally knew that the world wasn't ready.
Yeah. And that's what I feel that, and that's why I also feel like we're in this infancy state of healing. Had you released it, back then, it may have fallen on deaf ears. Now I think people are longing for this, for everything you've put in your book. They're longing for that wisdom, that information, that like almost like even how I felt like this, I'm not alone. There's other people that feel this way. They're seeing these things. They know these changes have to be made. This sense of like belonging.
Yes.
in your, of connection, of I'm not crazy,
You're
you
not
know,
crazy. Yes.
that there's other people that think this way.
Oh, trust me. When I was writing this book, I asked my husband all the time, "Am I crazy? Am I
Right?
losing it?" You know,
Oh,
but I knew I wasn't, because the way that, this divine presence in my life has changed my life is, well, for me, it was utterly transformational, and I'm just sharing it now with the rest of the world.
yeah. Yeah, and you can read that in your book. You can see the transformational aspect in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. What do you feel is unique about this book?
Oh, so I loved your personal narrative that you add. It adds a layer of authenticity, I think, to your book, relatability. The readers really can connect on a deeper level. I think I really feel that. You share your own struggles, your own triumphs. You're not saying that you're the perfect at all. You don't, you inspire through your experiences and your personal journey. Like you really do. You incorporate God's teaching into your everyday life in a variety of different ways. You have a refreshing approach that sets this book apart and makes it accessible to readers from all walks of life, like I've said already, because I really think you hit religious, cultural, societal beliefs and different backgrounds. People from all different backgrounds can and will be able to relate in some way to what you're teaching and the wisdom offered in this book.
My heart's just going huge again. I'm like,
Oh, I'm so
I'm
proud of you. I am seriously so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm just like, I'm so blown away. I had no idea doing this was going to be this impactful to me. I just, I wasn't even expecting, I wasn't expecting this.
I know. It's so fun sometimes, eh?
Oh,
To have
wow. But you know what it's doing, really, Kayla, is it's offering such a validation that my effort, my blood, sweat, and tears in
And that's
writing.
the word. That is the word I've been trying to think of this whole time. Validation.
Yeah.
Your book is even offering me validation into how I am living my life, how I'm feeling, how I am seeing things, how I'm observing. So that is the perfect word.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it's giving me, that it was a worthy effort. And, I used to pray and ask, God, is this right? If you want me to throw it away, I'll throw it out. I will stop right here, right now. You really want me to finish this? And I would sit down to write and I would ask for God to speak through me every single time, that I would get rid of any part of this human mind's ego and only write through love.
Yeah. Well, I think he has. I think he has. He heard you.
Okay. Did this book remind you of any other books?
Not like, I've read, and you've probably read, inspirational books by great authors and great, you know what I mean? These big names, and they offer you these different ways of like looking at life, and they all have like a certain impact on your life. But I would definitely put this book on a top 10, with the big names, because and I'm talking like some of my favorites are like Tony Robbins. They're just giving you this deeper level of life, like this, to dive deep. But your book, again, to me, I just feel a different connection. I don't know if that's because I know you and we have this personal relationship, but you really set the stage for a deeper level of connection than what I've read before. Through, putting in the questions.
Yeah.
To have people answer them. I've done like Bible studies, and I've done these things, and they offer you these things that you can go look for in the book. You can go look for them, but the way that your questions are worded, you can't really go look into the book. You have to go into you to answer them. And so that's what sets your book, I think, apart from other authors that I've read.
Perfect. Oh, so good to hear these things, because, for me, as I release this, I ask myself these same questions. Well, how is it different? And what I'm hearing is what's really different is that to reference, you have to go within, and that's exactly what I'm trying to create. The vision that I talk about in the first chapter, and creating a new vision of both your life and for humanity, is only born by going inwards, because I can't tell you how to do that. Only you can.
Yeah. And you got to do the work. And so you don't offer this fluffy version.
No.
Right? You have this fluffy version of like how to do that. Oh, well, you do these 3 steps and you'll be good. No, you're like, okay, here's the questions, and truly answer them. I can't answer them for you. You have to answer them. Right? Whereas a lot of the other books are like, well, you could kind of look back and look at how they've done it, and then like give some fluffy answer, right? But you ask some very good questions.
Yeah.
That only that person can answer.
Yeah, because and that's the thing that I have learned is, and I think spiritually learned, and is that we can only come to know spirit, we can only come to know God through our own journeys, and I can't tell you how to do that,
No.
but
No.
I do know that the process of getting there, and that's basically what I was trying to relate to as far as when I was sharing the spirit code. So I was prefacing the previous chapters of like, okay, this is where we're at. This is what we're facing, right?
Yeah.
And to also give ways of new perceptions into which we can start shifting ourselves to prepare to go through the spirit code.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Okay. Next question. In what ways did the book impact you? Do you think you'll remember it in a few months or even years?
Yes. I think, again, I go back to the questions and the exercises that you put in here. They are truly something that you can implement in your daily, weekly, monthly, yearly practice of changing and making steps to change. And for people, and again, it all walks of life, people that have never made a change yet and don't even know where to start, you offer a starting point. People that have already been doing it, it's just like a reminder. It's like, oh, you doing these things daily, weekly, monthly, like you're it's just a reminder, and organized so very well to be able to impact your life in a positive way. Really, you can't impact your life in a negative way if you're not already doing these things, right? Like, so I mean, it is positive impact.
Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. But that's the intentionality behind it, is that, it's a book that shifts your perspective, shifts your awareness, creates a new relationship with yourself, but also is a study, like a reference to go back to, like, okay, I've completed this. Now I can go back, what's the next step I can create for myself? Because
100.
I'm not telling you what it is, but I'm asking
Mhm.
questions for you to create it now. Okay, I got that down. Let's go to the next one.
100%.
Awesome. Okay. What was most impactful to you in your life, from the book?
I think it is this daily reminder that you have to make conscious choices in your life, because your choices ultimately affect not only you, but everyone around you, everybody that you are connected with in one way or another, and even that you're not totally connected with, but you are spiritually connected with. Like, we are all connected, right? And so to make thoughtful choices, it really, to be, in order for us to make a way to a new beginning, our choices are what are going to affect that, and what is going to change that. And so that probably had the biggest impact. It was like reevaluating my own choices daily, how I'm teaching that to my children, how I'm teaching that to my community and to my circles, right? That I'm in. And so I think I found that the most highlighted thing for me in the book was like focusing on choices and my intentional impact on society and myself.
Beautiful. Yes. Biggest, when we bring God into this equation, because I can't help but bring God into this equation.
Yeah.
That's exactly what free will is. And
Yeah.
also exactly what sin is the sin of thought at the end of the day. And this ability, and life is the atonement to bring conscious awareness to our decisions in every moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Our conscious choices.
Yes.
Our conscious, are we being a healthy, productive, positive role model?
Yeah.
That everybody is seeking. That's what they're seeking. They're seeking love. Everybody's seeking positivity. Everybody's seeking this better way. Yet nobody wants to do the work or make the choices to do those things and implement them in daily life, right?
Yeah.
And some of those things is looking within, forgiving yourself, learning to forgive yourself so you can forgive others, aligning your body, mind, and spirit in order to be that healthy person, to make those healthy choices, to make the healthy connection, to really bring that change upon society. And it starts with us, like, and recognizing that. And I think that your book will help people at the end of it realize that.
Yeah. I had a thought as you were talking, and it also escaped me at the same time, but yes, it's I know I said this somewhere in the book, of that one of the biggest things that I've learned through shamanism is that intention is everything.
Yeah.
As well as, the combination of intention and our choices, is the foundation in which we create this new relationship with ourselves that basically dawns a new way of being.
Yeah. Well, and the intention is so important because there's choices you can make, right? And like I always go back to certain scriptures. It's like Cain and Abel, where he was like, bring me something, and Abel's like, I'm bringing this to you because I really want to. Like, this is the gift I want to give you. And Cain does it just because he's got to give him something. Like, there's no intention to giving it. Like, he doesn't know why. He's just doing it because he's supposed to. He has no intention. And so when you have to almost have the intention in order to make it purposeful, right?
And everything. Yes. And that's the work, right? Well, it's part of the work. There's so much work here. Like I said, and you've said it, it's not an easy journey, but it is a worthy one. It is not easy. And I will never pretend that it's not, because even to this day, and I'm so glad too, you said there's the way that I've been able to come across, which I'm so glad it is noticed, but is authentic, because I too continually have to practice these things. I am on the spiritual path as well. And, I always say, well, I'm still here and you can still see me. So obviously I haven't reached complete enlightenment.
Right. And I think that's where people think they're like, oh, I just have to do these for so long. And then like, I'm good. And you're like, no, this is like a forever commitment. Like
It is,
this is like,
it is a forever commitment. And, like I made a commitment long ago. It actually was just previously before I met my now husband I made it in 2009 or 2010, in which my commitment became that I wanted to reach enlightenment, complete enlightenment in my embodiment. And so, I wanted to be Christ-like.
yeah,
And, I believe that I'm on the right track because, foundationally through my experience in all the different ways, but truly following the life of Jesus and what I believe that he taught, and that this is the way, this is the
yeah,
life of the way.
yes. And I think we are so concerned with looking to the outer. And so I know this is totally probably off topic, but it's something that came to me even yesterday. And I had somebody come to talk to me about the rapture. And they're like, well, it's not in the Bible. And I'm like, well, it's not, but it is. Like I said, the word is not there. But I said the way of being, like the meaning is there. And I said it's to be so at peace that you are in this constant rapture like feeling of like enlightenment,
Yes.
that you are at this continual like beautiful place within yourself.
Yes.
And that is to me the goal, is
Yes.
to be so in constant rapture of like enlightenment,
Mm-hmm.
that you're aware of what's going on, but it's not like it can't touch you, it can't affect you.
Yeah.
Like that you can just be like, I see it, I sometimes feel it, but then I got to get back up. Like it's always this internal work so that you have that internal, that feeling, and
Yeah.
that healing. Like you're like, okay, I know what that feels like and I want to
More
continue.
of it.
Yes, like it's this like I felt it. Like I felt that. And so now it's like I know what that is. Now what do I have to do with the choices in my life to like feel that
Feel that more of the time. Yes,
more?
100%. I
And
think this is completely related because
yeah.
I don't know if I was fully successful, but I know when I was talking about flow and synchronicity,
Mhm.
that was to provide the example. All of us have experienced God or Christ-like state of peace and fulfillment, and it's through those times that we felt in flow, you know, in flow.
Yeah.
That is the gifts of God to say, hey, I've given you this now, now it's your choice to create the habits and ways of
Yes.
transmuting your own mind and your own consciousness to be in this state more to all of the time.
Yes.
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 Yes, 100%.
Totally. And I'm like, oh, it is so this what you have released to the world, right? The timing is, like I'm saying, spectacular, because these are the things that people need sometimes help connecting the dots to.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And it does. And that's exactly why I wrote it, and it was my hope. And so, I know through this conversation I have received so much validation, and my heart is overflowing in gratitude, truly. And
Well,
I just can't believe it.
well,
I'm
I love
in a state of like disbelief. Did I actually? But you see, I don't want to even take credit for it because, like I said, every time I sat down to write, I asked God to speak through me. So,
well, and he did. He did. And I think that people need to read this, and it gives them, and like I say, all walks of life can read this book at any stage of their life
mhm.
and pull out so much positive structure that they can implement in their own life. So it's
That is
it's a
amazing.
beautiful gift that you are giving. It
Well,
really
I
is.
hope it has, I truly do hope that it reaches so many hands.
Well, I'm sharing it with so many people here, because I truly think that it can set up such positive steps for people's lives.
I think that's a perfect segue into the last question is, who do you think should read this book, or who would you like to read this book?
Who wouldn't want to read this book? Like I say, I've been sharing it with all my people who I think could benefit. I think it offers clarity to what's going on a global consciousness level and an individual soul level. And I think it is a missing piece to some people's journeys.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be sure that I am sharing it with my friends and the family that still talks to me. And, you know, even the ones that don't, like they see it, and just offering it everybody to be like, you know what, I think this could have a really positive impact on your life. And I'm already watching people, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm reading it on holiday and I'm with my friends and they're like, what are you reading? And I'm like, Joy's book. And well, I'm reading it next. Like, I can't wait, and so it's already going to be shared with so many in my community. And so I think that lots of people should and probably will be drawn to your book.
I can't help. I'm just wow, and I'm so overwhelmed. Oh my gosh, Kayla, I'm humbled. I'm so eternally grateful for you taking the time to read my book, for all the things that in the ways it has meant to you, the ways it has impacted you, and sharing all of this today. Oh my gosh. I am literally and utterly, I'm so blown away. Like I'm in shock.
Yeah, I'm sorry I did that to you, but the level of validation that you gave me from reading this, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, because it's very cool to know the people that I have in my circle, because 15 years ago, the people that were in my circle were not this motivating and not this inspirational. And so it just shows you do the work, positive things come into your life. Like, right? And you're offering validation to the way I have felt my whole life, where I was told, that's crazy, that's religion, that's this, that's that, you can't, like, that's not normal, right? And in your book, there's validation of like, I'm not alone here. Like, I'm not.
no, you're not.
Yeah. And so that's a beautiful gift to give. So
You're
thank you.
God's warrior. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
I wish you were here.
How I have to go decompress. Yeah, so I guess that's a wrap. I guess for all the people that have stayed with us throughout the entirety of reviewing my book, thank you. It's an honor that you have. Thank you for, considering all that we've said. Thank you for listening. Thank you. If you go on to read my book, oh my gosh, and I truly hope with all my heart that it makes a positive difference in your life and ripples outwards, because that is why I wrote it. So I think that's a wrap, and we'll say goodbye. Thank you, Kayla, so much. Oh my gosh, I have no words to extend my gratitude for doing this with me today.
Oh, you are so welcome. Thank you for letting me read your book and be some of the first to read it, because it's pretty cool.
If you are interested in purchasing my new book, Intentional Resonance, The Dawn to a New Way Being, to contribute to your personal and spiritual development journey, it is available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback formats, Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, and worldwide. If you are interested in inquiring about the different types of coaching services I have to offer, or if you just want to connect, please choose one of the links below to reach out and connect. On TikTok, it's at Joy Incarnation, on YouTube, at Intentional Resonance Project, and by email, intentionalresonanceproject@gmail.com. Looking forward to hearing from you. Talk soon.